Good day, colleagues. Am I audible?
Yes, Wangani, you are audible.
Thank you so much. Good day to you all, colleagues. My name is Dlamini. I'm the training coordinator working closely with the EMDC in terms of the training and also CPD implementation program that we are currently having here. I'd first like to update you all for the second session and for British of colleagues. It's been this is for something exciting that as a council and also as a laboratory we are better to be part of. So today's talk, we'll be having the principal quality assurance trainer Dlamini will be taking us on a topic entitled ensuring diagnostic accuracy in the pre-analytic phase, quality control and quality assurance. But before we get there, I thought it's best that I maybe take you through the CPD program, how it worked like, what do we have, the guidelines, and all the relevant documents. And can I share my screen, colleagues, so I can share a brief presentation on that before we give a moment to. Okay, can you all see my screen?
Yes.
Thank you so much. So, colleagues, this is the CPD program. I'm sure we've all been sensitized on. It was developed and adopted by the EMDC around 2019, if I'm not mistaken. And due to COVID, it went to a silent phase. Then last year we came on board whereby we tried to implement through the EMDC as well. We developed and also appointed an AMLAC committee, which are the heart of the program. And also right now we're trying to schedule and fuse our training programs alongside with the Ministry of Health calendars, as well as making all trainings accredited to give us relevant CPD points as laboratory practitioners. So thoroughly, just take you through a brief framework on how the CPD program looks like. We have our background in my small presentation. I look into the CPD framework system, also an orientation on one of the forms. Then later I will introduce our criteria to for us in different laboratories. So, as I've mentioned, colleagues, to have a CPD program. The idea of a CPD program is to track and also to skills, knowledge, and also it's mostly a record of what we experience, learn, and also an evidence of our competency to still practice in our different areas, and also a requirement by the EMDC to renew as per the required points. The whole idea is to improve our health status in Eswatini and ensure that all healthcare professionals, especially the lab, are competent in our field, which makes our CPD program more personal than for any other entity that we are affiliated with. So with that said, the EMDC issued a memo last month or early this month, whereby they were trying to elaborate and also sensitize us all to say, last year was a situational analysis here, whereby we're trying to look at the ground in terms of the uptake of the practitioners, get the data, also sensitize all the healthcare professionals in different sectors, either public, private, working in research, different organizations. So I try to share this memo with the calendar. But generally what it talks about that as of this year, 1st of October 2023 to next year, September 2024, the laboratory cadre and as well as the medical and then like the doctors are required. Now it's a requirement, colleagues, for us to have the minimum forms. So we then sit down and try to find ways to say how can we move forward with this? Because we might arrange trainings for a specific lab, but they might also be limited to other people who are working in another laboratory, since most of the trainings are funding based. That's why we then thought to supplement those trainings that are happening on site, let's introduce our webinar laboratory CME series, whereby we'll be having guests and presenters from different labs or entities as per the need, and then they share and also present to us virtually. And we might as well look at the time. If the 12:30 is okay for us on a Thursday, we are trying to introduce another system to say, for those who cannot attend during this time, they can access the videos of the recordings as well as the online quiz and submit on a timely manner. And all of these colleagues, it's governed by our guidelines. We have the guidelines that were adopted and created in 2019, which we are using to implement our system. I've also shared to pretty much all of you. And those who doesn't have, I can provide the link for you to download the electronic version. So this provides the blueprint of how the CPD program works and all the tools, all the requirements as a different practitioner and the real roles and responsibilities of each and every stakeholder involved in this. And also we have our logbook. You might have seen these, colleagues. I think by now you all have this document. Our logbook, it's more personal, whereby you record all your CPD trainings, CPD activities that you are accumulating in real time. For example, right now we are having our virtual webinar. It's equivalent to 2 points. We might not have someone to sign for your logbook, but we have the registers for the virtual Zoom will produce a report and also our quiz as our evidence of the participants and all of the likes. So we advise to document this training because you might need it at the EMDC next year. So this is our framework in the CPD system. We have the Medical Laboratory Advisory Committee. So this is the committee that's include of the private and public, as well as the members of the association. So they are the ones who accredit trainings like this one, accredit the CPD providers, advise on the way forward, and as well as work closely or with on behalf of the EMDC to implement and help us in the implementation of the program to all practitioners. Then we have the MOH, blood bank, private labs, teaching institution, implementing partners who provide activities, who provide support, as well as presents relevant CPD activities to all of us as healthcare practitioners. Then our role as the medical laboratory cadre is to attend in these series that are available, attend to physical trainings that are available, participate also in lifelong learning, whereby you can take a course online or maybe physical in another country or another institution, but get it accredited through the EMDC system by completing several forms that I'll talk about later in my presentation. And also your employer or your supervisor, their role in the CPD program is to motivate you, make time for you to participate in these available workshops, webinars, or physical trainings, to name a few. So this is the model that we're using for our CPD implementation. Like I've mentioned before. So at the start, we have our CPD providers. So these institutions, public, private, or any other that is willing to give trainings to the laboratory. They apply to be CPD providers. And on behalf of the EMDC, the Medical Laboratory Advisory Committee reviews the application and credit them. Then the CPD officer notifies them of accreditation status, if they are accredited or not. Then each CPD provider also submits a list of CPD courses, like you see the one we are having today. CPD providers, EHLS. So we have this course for the quality department. So we have the medical laboratory technologists who need to accumulate the CPD points as we are having such series. And everything, colleagues, is housed at the EMDC. And then also, we then publish the CPD calendar, just like I've tried to publish the one that you are having today, whereby we synchronize this calendar with the MOH calendar trainings. And we invite all organizations and partners and institutions who have trainings scheduled for the laboratory to get them CPD accredited. so that they can offer you the relevant point you need for your practice. This is a list of our CPD providers that we have to date. We have about 19 for now. I've included the private labs, the institutions, as well as your e-medical, VNH, as well as other implementing partners. So upon accreditation, we give them a unique code, which starts with P, meaning provider. Then it has a year in between to show when they are accredited and how long their license will last. And also, we categorize them as per their thematic areas to know if a certain institution or organization or laboratory focuses on LQMS, diagnostics, or instrumentation. But I'll also explain the acronym and how it was created and what it means. So, an example, CPD provider EHLS. So, we've given HLS the number P01, whereby extension provider 001 is the number in order to say no number one in terms of the other. 000 is the EMDC. You go on and on and on. You notice that the numbers are not the same. And as to that, on the far left is the year, which shows the year it was accredited. And according to our guidelines, we accredit these CPD providers or these institutions or labs for about 2 years. So they will have a license for 2 years. And after 2 years, they also should show interest if they are still willing to be part of the program, and also if they're existing in the country. And then also code our CPD activities. We then use our, for example, quality, which is QU, safety, ST, instrumentation is supply chain, testing as just to name a few. When you see a code like P001, say 201, number 01, this will give you an idea that this is EHLS accredited on 2023. And then the training we're having today is quality, the first cause, and then number one in that series. So generally, this is what it means. And so this is a simple summary of how the CPD points allocation is conducted in the laboratory. I must say, colleagues, that since we are rolling out this program to the different cadres, every cadre in the enrolled or registered under the EMDC is interpreting their CPD activities differently. But this is for the laboratory, whereby an in-service training, just a group-based type of training, is 1 point to 1 hour. A workshop, which in our context we defined as studies whereby we have the lab combined with doctors and nurses. So 1 hour of attending that is equivalent to 0.5. And a general club, which we hope to establish in the near future as part of the CPD program, will also be equivalent to 0.5 if you attend to that session as well. Right now, we are having our virtual services which are running as in-service trainings. They are equivalent to 1 hour, is equivalent to 1 point. Then we have our e-learning, whereby you take a course online and submit a certificate to the EMDC. 1 point of that, 1 hour of that is equivalent to 1 point. So those are like the quick highlight colleagues that we are using to grade our CPD activities as they come through in the CPD office. So these are the requirements based by the different professions in the laboratory. We have 4 cadres for now. We have the pathologist working closely with the histopathology lab. Their requirements is 40 points for them to still renew and deemed competent to still practice each and every year. Whereby under the 40 points, we request that 2 points should come from safety, 20 points from your specialty of whatever that you're working on, and then the 18 is clinical practice. Then a majority of us are laboratory technologists. It's about 30 points for us to still be deemed competent by the EMDC and still practice. Whereby 3 points should be from LQMS, 3 points from any relevant instrument or any discipline, 2 from laboratory safety, and 22 within the scope area of your practice. I've highlighted this on the left that the majority of the lab might be working off the pen. We have a way of how we can allocate such for them. It's stated in the section 9.5. And for technicians as well, it's 25 points. For phlebotomists, it's 15 points. We have quite a number of trainings which are worth more than 30 points or going up, just like a malaria training, which is ongoing right now. The 30 point might be enough, but that 30 points from one training is not enough for you to still be deemed competent. Hence, we still say, get the other points from the relevant different disciplines within the laboratory for them to make up the 30 points we request for your competency, the EMDC. And each and every workshop or CPD activity that one attend, according to our guidelines, we request that there is an issued certificate of attendance. And this is a template that we used with the prostology team that was in the country last year. And then part of the make available certificate should be the accreditation number, which should start with T00 something. And then also the topic of that activity, just like today we're having in pre-analytic phase, quality control and quality assurance. So the title should be there. The level of that activity, that's the numbering. And then also the number of points that the training is worth. Today's session, colleagues, is 2 points. So it should be in our certificate of attendance. And then also the date of completion, the name and registration, whereby the facilitator will then be supposed to sign that and then send as a digital certificate. So question is, colleagues, how are we going to do that in such live webinar series? So I've created different platforms such that at the end of this workshop, of this session, we'll run a quick quiz, which will be electronic. It will also act as our online attendance register. Then it'll give you an automatic score. Then maybe after 48 hours, it will send you automatically a certificate of attendance directly to your email, which you would use to complete this. And then that will mark as your evidence of participation in today's series. And then we also have external trainings, whereby in this context, we entitled them as non-accredited CPD activity. What this means is that they were not pre-accredited by the EMDC and also the AMLAC. It was foreign, like you came with it from outside. So we do recognize trainings that were accumulated from other countries. If you are taking courses online on your own, you can use this form, colleagues, to acknowledge or also inform the EMDC of what you are doing at the time. So this is a pretty simple form. I have it in soft copy. At a later stage, all of these will be housed into our digital system. You complete the details of where you've got the training, the details of the trainer, and also the date and the content of what you're trained about, and also attach certificates of attendance. The CPD officer will review this and then also send it to the AMLAC for evaluation, and then you'll be notified of how much that workshop that you attended is worth according to the requirements in our guidelines. So this is a platform to welcome us, like welcome all trainings that we are doing in different areas and trainings we're doing on our own, to say, if it's within the laboratory space, we can recognize it, and you can also document it into your CPD profile in your logbook once it's accredited. Colleagues, we have this calendar, which we have tried to develop. So according to the guidelines, it stated that for us to publish, when we need to publicize, advertise a CPD activity, we should inform all practitioners of the CPD points it's worth, the details, facilitator, and all the likes. Hence, I came up with this format, which is synchronized with the Ministry of Health training calendar. And including that, we've also incorporated these webinar series that we are having today. So this is like a personal copy, colleagues. It gives you instructions on top that should you take a course outside the country or have any inquiries, this is where you can consult me or the EMDC. And also you find all the details of every training that you are about to embark on, either invited or either it's a virtual training, but within the laboratory cadre CPD program. So it also has online self-paced courses, colleagues. We have tried to select a few, but this is not limited to this. we're just showing an example that you can go to OpenWTO or any other platform, either ASLM or Academy or CDC Train or any other online platform, and get a laboratory-based course. Once you take that, accomplish it, get it accredited through the EMDC by sending proof of participation in that, then it will go directly to your profile as well. So a logbook, colleagues, might look like this at the end of every year. So this was my logbook to date. I'm trying to show how we can document trainings that we participate in, to say you record the date, the title of the CPD activity, the number of hours, the CPD points it's worth. It was a challenge last year because we didn't know this information in terms of the points and the hours. So now for this EMDC year, that's why we came up with this calendar idea to send to all practitioners, so that you could know that if you are taking a pastoral training, it will give you the relative points that you need to document in your logbook. And if it's a physical training, we request that you get a stamp as proof of evidence that you were in that training. The trainer for that course will then forward a training register to us, which we'll use to update in the electronic system as well. Renewal, going forward, colleagues, now that we have a CPD program, we request that you submit a copy of your log CPD activities. You just print it out and attach with your renewal form and your proof of payment. So the EMDC will review this and also cross-check alongside with the digital system they're having in the office. We also have our own register, colleagues, like I mentioned. We will run a quiz at the end of each and every presentation, which will mark to say where we can notice people who attended and also keep track of your full details and get the right email for us to send the digital certificates of attendance to. We'll have a QR code of at the end of each session, or we can have the link pasted on the chat. You can then access, which will be valid for about a week for you to complete that, or maybe depending on the need. And also, we are aware, colleagues, that right now it's daytime and it's probably lunchtime for all of us. There's work in our workstations, different meetings, or anything that you are doing in our different space. Not everybody might have access to attend to this live session. So while our system is being finalized, the digital system, we thought we could record each and every session, have the link available online for the period of October to December, and also have the quiz link available for this duration. So anyone can always go back, review the video, get the content, as well as take the quiz, which will form as proof of attendance to them. Then with this approach, I believe that it can reach to everybody at any given time. So we also have a system, but because today's session is about quality, I was trying to give you an overview of how the CPD program will look like. And I'll still do this session every now and then for us to be fully well equipped about how the program will run. And then at a later stage, I will show you and also invite you to register and create your profiles on the digital system, which is through the EMDC website, whereby you can see this training on live mode, as well as the invitation, happening on real time. With that said, my session short in this way. Thank you so much, colleagues. I'd like to open you CPD program implementation if there are any before we hand over to us today. I believe, colleagues, that was clear enough. And any other questions? Okay. might also indicate that we might have, 21 top or 21 we request that you can write the device name as maybe Quality Lab or NTRL or MGHL. Then under the comment section, we indicate the number of people attending through that device, that you can use it for documenting and also having our database as well. The absence of any question, colleagues, I'd like to invite Mr. Kina, our principal, who will take us through our topic today, our main topic for today, on the talk, diagnostic, putting diagnostic accuracy in the medical phase, looking at quality control and quality assurance. Today it's about functional education units. So thank you so much, colleagues. I'd like to invite you, Mr. Lamini, to take it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Lamini. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Good
I'm
afternoon.
audible.
Sir.
Okay, afternoon, colleagues. As I've been introduced, my name is Kina Lamini, the principal lab technologist from the quality unit. So I will be presenting this topic today, entitled Ensuring Diagnostic Accuracy in the Pre-Analytical Phase, with more emphasis on the quality control and quality assurance. Maybe before I start, thank you again, Mr. Lamini, for the detailed explanation of the relationship with the Eswatini Medical and Dental Council. So I think now we can actually see in the same screen, the bottom left, we have the CPD activity P0012023. That is the date from the quality 0401. And the CPD points that are being awarded from this. My outline will be like this. We will start with a short introduction, then we move to the diagnostic process, pre-analytical phase, and have some few examples of errors that occur in the pre-analytical. Then delve into quality control versus quality assurance. Then look into the best practices. Then we will look at sample collection, labeling, and transportation. Then we include. Okay, in our introduction, we look into the importance of the diagnostic accuracy in the medical laboratory. We say, yes, we have the 3 phases. Pre-analytical is the first one, and we actually say it's very important because that's where actually everything begins. So we should be sure that when we receive and send into the analytical, it's of good quality so that we can get good results. There is that saying that says garbage in, garbage out. So if we bring good quality samples, we are sure that we'll get good quality results. So accuracy in the laboratory testing, it's very important for patient care, and that we don't actually get good samples, probably the treatment will not be good for the patient. So misdiagnosis can lead to serious health consequences, sometimes a result. So the role of the quality control and the quality assurance in the pre-analytical phase. As we have actually said, the pre-analytical phase, it's where the diagnostic accuracy begins. that phase is basically like the phase of the whole laboratory. The quality control and the quality assurance are very important for reducing errors. Actually, the lab is actually no place for like mistakes, but even if errors fail, so mistakes actually we should try to eliminate them as much as we can. Okay, let's move on to the diagnostic process. This is just a flow chart that shows how we actually run in the laboratory. So we basically have our test ordering by the clinicians. They write the examination request. Okay, now we no longer use the examination request. So it should be fully filled and the patient should be identified positively to say if it's phenethylamine, it should be phenethylamine in the request and even the sample. So then we go to the specimen collection, and the specimen collected according to the SOPs. Then the sample is being transported now to the analytical phase. It should be handled in a way that it doesn't compromise its integrity. So the diagnostic process involves the phases, as we have said. So our focus today is on the pre-analytical, in some other time. So the pre-analytical phase, it's an identification, collection, and handling. That's the very first critical in actually identifying the patient. Excuse me. So now the analytical phase, the actually that we have the patient. So we have to positively identify the patient. So what we normally is if the patient presents to the name of the patient and the surname, we should avoid as much as we can to say, are you phenethylamine? Because we know patients, sometimes they will be afraid to get into the lab. They're afraid maybe of the needles or other things. So they may agree. And if you say, are you Mos? Then I will just say, yes, I'm afraid. Yet sometimes the names can be similar. So even the age, the sex, sometimes dietary intake for fasting pool, treatment, sometimes physiological changes should be actually so then we proceed to collect the sample that is actually needed and which tube is ideal, and try as much as possible to avoid hemolysis and other things that can render the sample being rejected, avoid contamination. So basically we have to adhere to our SOPs, follow them so that we get quality samples. If the sample we've collected, we label, we do everything, we need to actually store. If the processing wouldn't happen the same day, if it needs to be stored between 2 and 8, it should be actually stored in that temperature. If it's supposed to be stored at room temperature, it's supposed to be stored there, and it will be stored for a time frame that is allowed. If it should be analyzed maybe within 7 days, it should be actually so. On transportation, we still need to observe all the requirements for good transportation, and the preparation, centrifugation, stability, temperature, all those things should be actually. Errors in this space can have a far-reaching consequence, as we have said, that it can actually lead to death. You can just imagine having swapped a sample for someone maybe who have, at the end of the day, that sick person doesn't get the true result. They get that they are negative for malaria and they're being treated maybe for something else. And we know the consequences of malaria. It can complicate to cerebral malaria and sometimes death may occur. We focus we avoid the errors, then we improve our patient care. Then what is its significance in preventing these errors? We know that if the errors are being prevented, we will be having our cornerstone to diagnostic accuracy will be accurate most of the time. And this sets the stage for the entire testing process as well as the laboratory. So some errors that actually okay, the common ones in the pre-analytical era, that's where we will focus.
Apologies, colleagues. I will be coming back on. It's network issues.
Hello.
Hello.
Am I now audible?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes,
Yeah,
we can hear you.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I think I was lost somewhere. My network is not stable. I tried itself, it's not stable. So where was I? Where did you stop hearing me? Where did you lose me?
You're on the diagnostic processes.
Okay. On this slide.
Slide number 4.
You were tackling the errors issue.
Oh, okay. Okay, I think it's this one.
No, you were on that slide which has test ordering,
Okay,
then
let's
arrows.
continue. Basically, I was saying oh, okay. Okay, so can you see my screen?
Yes, we can see your screen, but you were on slide 4.
Okay, yeah, this is slide 4. Okay, let us continue. Okay, so we're looking into the diagnostic process to say we actually start from the test ordering, the clinical. Can you hear me?
We can hear you, but you see there's a second slide which is showing, not slide 4, not the fourth one. I'm not sure whether I'm the only one seeing the second slide. Slide 2.
Oh, okay, okay. Let me just stop the sharing and start again. Okay, let me share again. Can you see now slide 4?
No.
Still not visible. Okay, let me try to stop again. And start again. Okay. Yeah, it's still loading. I think the network is just very unstable.
We can see it
It's
now.
fine now.
So can you see the screen now? Oh, okay, let's continue. Thank you so much. So I'm sorry for that disturbance. Okay, I was saying our diagnostic process. Okay, in the pre-analytical, we actually start by having the clinician writing the examination requirement known as the request form. So we actually order the tests, then the clients, they come for filling, or sometimes they actually bring the samples together with the examination request to the laboratory. So that is still part of the pre-analytical. Then they transport the samples, then specimen processing and handling. So all those 4 stages they do. The pre-analytical phase actually encompasses the patient and the specimen identification, the collection, and the handling of the samples. So the pre-analytical phase, actually, it refers to all the steps that occur before the laboratory testing. And as we have actually seen, where we are supposed to positively identify them, you know, by age, by the sex, dietary intake. Sometimes we have to know whether it's a fasting or it's a random blood sugar, for example, the treatment that they are taking, physiological changes. Then we go on to do the sample collection. Mainly, we will make, and because we use that most of the time, but we are aware that we could got quite a number of samples ranging from urine, stool, sputum, the blood. So we need to actually make sure that we follow the SOPs for each sample collection. And we have to know the types of the tubes we use and try by all means to avoid, minimize errors or maybe things that can render the samples rejected, like hemolysis, contamination. Then the samples, after being collected, they are being processed in terms of like storing. Sometimes we stay to testing. You find that sometimes the samples will be tested the next day or be transported to the next laboratory. Storage conditions should be observed. The transportation, preparation, centrifugation, stability, temperature should be monitored throughout. Then what is the significance in preventing these errors? You know, by preventing these errors, we will be sure that we'll be producing accurate results. And this pre-phase, it sets the stage for the entire testing process. It's basically the phase of the laboratory. So let's look at the errors that actually occur in the pre-analytical. According to some studies, it stated that about 46 to 68.2% of the errors actually the pre-analytical error, ranging from sample condition, sometimes insufficient sample, incorrect identity, sample handling and transport issues. So in the analytical phase, it's probably 7 to 13%, and post-analytical, it's 18.5 to 47. We can actually see that errors can lead to incorrect results and lead to misdiagnosis and compromised patient care. Sometimes it can actually lead to the death of the patient. I was making an example to say if it was a mixed match of samples, if the patient was malaria positive, then they get the results. For a malaria negative person, the person won't get the treatment for malaria, probably will be treated for something else, yet the malaria will progress and complicate probably to cerebral malaria, then maybe death, then the results due to the error. So that's why we say actually laboratory is a no zone for errors. We should try eliminate them as much as possible. So we'll be looking at quality assurance soon. So if we actually have those programs running, we will be able to limit these errors. Okay, let's look into the quality control versus the quality assurance. Maybe I'll keep on checking if I'm still.
Okay.
Okay, thanks. Okay, let's look at the differences between, I will start with the quality control, the ones in red, then we compare to the quality assurance. But in a very simple terms, by quality control, we just refer to like all that are used to fulfill the requirements for quality. So in this slide, actually, it says it's an industrial management tool that helps maintaining the uniform acceptable quality in the product by testing the samples of the goods produced. So in our case, what we need to produce is quality results. So when we look at quality assurance, that implies to all the methods, actions which are necessary to give enough confidence that our product or the service that we render is good quality. So that is the meaning. What does quality control focuses on? It actually focuses on identifying defects or identifying gaps, whereas quality assurance, it actually focuses on preventing those gaps or the defects. Then quality control is oriented on the product. It's product oriented, whereas the quality assurance is process oriented. It looks into the overall process. So quality, its action, it's reactive. It happens, then we pick the gap maybe thereafter, whereas in quality assurance, it's with control focuses on monitoring and verifying the reliability of the test results, whilst the quality assurance is a comprehensive approach that ensures the quality of the entire testing process. So with quality assurance, it's all that in systematic activities that are necessary to provide confidence that our product or service will satisfy given requirements. We know that we are working towards achieving or adhering to the ISO 15189. So their respective roles in the pre-analytical phase is the quality control ensures individual accurate, and the quality assurance ensures that the entire process, the system itself, is reliable and compliant. Okay, quality control in the pre-analytical phase. Let's just have some discussion on the quality control measures. So for pre-specimen collection, we have already said that it's very critical to verify the patient positively and the test orders. So for example, we say it's a good practice to ask the patient to repeat the name for you. You ask the patient. Ideally, when they come to me, I will have to introduce myself. I am Lamine. I'm here to collect that from you. Can you examination request? You actually have to double check so that you positively identify the patient. Then even the tests that are being actually ordered, we need to double check, verify when we put them, like we capture them into the system, into the dicer, so that we avoid actually running tests that are not actually ordered, because results
So it's gone again.
Yeah, sorry. The network, I can see it keeps on cutting me. I don't know which one to utilize now. Let me try to share again. Okay, can you see the screen again?
Yes, we can.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, just a minute. Okay, hello again.
Oh,
Welcome back, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, hello.
we can hear you.
Hello. Hello.
Okay, yeah, sorry.
Stepping our flow, baby. We are ready for you.
Okay, thank you. Sorry again for that disturbance. It's network, so I was trying to change. You know, I tried to even MTN, it was taking me off. Yeah, but I think where I am now, we will continue well. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon again. I'm sorry once again. Yeah, the network is giving me challenges. But let me try one more time. What of a slide number 1. Okay, I think we're in this slide. I hope now we are gonna continue without any disturbance. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Sir.
Yes, we can.
Okay, thank you so much. We were talking about the detailed discussion on the quality control measures. So we were talking about the pre-specimen collection, the verification of the patient, how important it is. So we made an example of probably me swapping the samples, hence giving maybe results that don't belong to the patient, that can have a detrimental effect to the patient. So let's talk about the specimen collection techniques. It should be always when collecting the samples, we should follow the SOPs and observe all the safety precautions, because we also want to ensure that the patients are safe, even ourselves as the laboratorians are safe, we don't contract diseases. So even when coming to specimen labeling, we should actually adhere to the SOPs to say if we are required to label the samples with the name, surname, and the date, we should do the same so that we actually get a good specimen. Then handling, again, we should ensure that the temperature is maintained well. If it's 2 to 8, it should be at that. If the samples should be at room temperature, it has to be. So for example, if we have a CD4, we don't actually need to refrigerate that sample. It should be transported in a room temperature. So it is very key that when transporting the samples, the temperature is monitored. Okay, so the overview of the quality assurance programs, as we have talked about the quality control and the quality assurance, it's important. The quality assurance, it covers all the activities to ensure the accuracy of our test results. So we do have SOPs. I've been talking about SOPs, which are the standard operating procedures and the guidelines. They play a central role. So in most of our laboratories, we do have the quality manual that actually is the cornerstone of the laboratory's activities. It actually specifies, it tells how the lab is gonna operate. So it's very important. That is actually a cornerstone of the program. Then the role of the staff training and competence. The training is very crucial for the staff so that they actually adhere to the best practices. And the competency assessment, again, it should be done according to how the lab has actually specified, because having this competence assessment done and documented, it actually gives guarantee that the staff actually proficient in whatever they are doing. So it's very key that we have this and we document them. So let us actually look at some highlighted best practices in the pre-analytical phase in as far as error prevention is concerned. So we will say we are lucky in the EHLS because we have the barcode system for specimen identification. So it makes life easier. Sometimes it used to be so difficult to read some handwritings, but at least now with this system, you can actually read well the names. But however, I know that we still have to write the names even on the specimen tubes, be it the blood or the urine or whatever. So we should actually do that, especially if our manual says so. So we need to ensure proper storage and handling of the specimen, even pre and post analysis. And then we need to update and adhere to our SOPs. If we say in our quality manual, we review our SOPs maybe every 2 years, that's what we actually supposed to do. Okay, let's look at the specimen collection itself. So we have the first step, which is the preparation. We need to prepare the patient. When the patient comes, sometimes they'll be nervous and they are not cooperative. So once I introduce myself and I assure them that the steps that we're going to do to them, it's not harmful, even though maybe sometimes it can be painful, but they should be here with you until you actually finish. Then we need to observe again hand hygiene. We need to follow all those steps that are highlighted in the SOPs so that we avoid any transmission of infectious diseases. Then patient identification and positioning, it's the next step that we need to do. Then we disinfect the skin according to the SOP. Then we collect the specimen and then transfer it to the different tubes in the order of draw that is actually specified. Then the last part is the disposal of the waste. So universal safety precautions should always be followed. Proper patient identification, we say it is very fundamental. Then collection of the tubes using the right techniques, following the right order of draw is very important. Even if maybe we are collecting a sputum, it should be collected in a good way, whether it's a stool or urine, and the patients should be actually told all the steps that I know sometimes we actually outline them clearly in our clinicians handbook, and we still need to actually tell them when they're supposed to collect the samples. Okay, sample labeling. Now, once we have collected our samples, we should label them accordingly. So here in the picture that is red, we show some barcodes that are not actually placed well. So some are just too high, some they are too low, and some you can see that they've been exposed maybe to the fumes of alcohol. Now you cannot see even the names there. So the second picture actually shows the correct labeling of the tubes. But however, I think each and every lab should have its own way of how the samples should be actually labeled. I think it's a matter of communication to say we at maybe the analytical phase would love to have the barcodes put in such a way that maybe it doesn't obscure the written names of the patients. So mislabeled samples can actually lead to misdiagnosis, as we have actually said, and sometimes delayed treatment that can have bad results to the patient. Then there is barcode system. The computerized labeling printing are very effective solutions in having the samples well labeled. Then specimen transportation. Let's look at some of the challenges in specimen transportation. Sometimes you find that they are actually not monitored during the transit. There is no thermometer to actually check the temperature for those that needs to be transported in cold chain. Sometimes they are not well packaged. We know that we should use the triple packaging system to transport our samples. So before we transport the samples, we should make sure that they are well packaged and they actually well controlled for those that need a cold chain. So there is that part of communication. even in a pre-analytical, it is very critical to communicate. So effective communication, it actually helps save a lot of unnecessary mistakes. So we need to have clear and accurate test orders that are actually vital for the accurate testing. And it should be done timely. Sometimes there will be samples that are very urgent or urgent. So those ones, they need to be communicated. There should be a communication to say they need to be analyzed first before the routine ones. So if they are not actually communicated, it can delay the treatment to the patient. And sometimes their communication can be even from the results to say the results are there. We need to communicate now to say maybe the certain word should come to collect the result. Or if there are errors in the samples, maybe before you reject, you need to correct something. Maybe it's a minor thing that needs to be corrected. So communication is very key. But before even coming to the rejection, it's the duty of the lab to communicate to the requesters in time to say, this is what we are expecting from you. This is how we are supposed to fill in the request forms. Or if you collect the samples, this is how we are supposed to actually collect. So if we do communicate with the clinician's handbook, it's okay. But then sometime we really need to have maybe like meetings. We actually communicate in those forums. Okay, let's look at some regulatory compliance. We know that as a laboratory, we actually deal with human lives. So there is a regulatory framework governing medical laboratories. So in Eswatini, we have the Eswatini Medical and Dental Council, and it helps a lot. So these regulations are essential for patient and safety and the credibility of the healthcare institution. So it is very important that we comply as laboratories for the sake of the patient safety and for legal reasons. So adherence to these regulatory standards is not actually optional. It is a fundamental requirement to protect the patients. Hence, even ourselves, we need to practice when we have registered. Nobody is allowed actually to practice without registering with the regulatory body. So non-compliance can lead to serious consequences, including sanctions, fines, and litigations, which can then tarnish the reputation of the laboratory. So we have some few points that can be taken into consideration for the checklist for staying compliant with the relevant standards. We need to regularly review and update our SOPs to reflect our current guidelines, and then ensure staff training and competence assessments are ongoing and well documented, because we know that if it's not documented, it's as good as it's not done. So we need to monitor and verify the calibration and the maintenance of our equipment, and then conduct regular internal audits to identify and address compliance gaps. Then stay informed about the changes in the regulations and standards that affect the laboratory. As we speak, we know that we have new changes. We have changes in the standard, the ISO 15189 of 2012. So now we have the 2022 one, which have got some changes. So it is upon us to know those changes so that we can stay abreast. We have some continuous improvements that we need to take into consideration again. This is one principle, the key principle in the laboratory to enhance our quality and accuracy of diagnostic testing. As we have said that we do some audits. So from those audits, we see some gaps. Then from those gaps, you can develop some quality continuous improvement projects. And it's a process like of identifying the areas of improvement, as we have said, and it changes to minimize the errors and improve the patient's outcome. So the feedback from the errors and near misses drives improvement. Errors and near-miss incidents offer valuable insights into vulnerabilities in the pre-analytical phase. Hence, we can then have some areas of improvement once we have seen those errors. By analyzing these occurrences, laboratories can develop strategies to prevent their recurrence. So having a robust quality assurance program, as we have said, it can help, prevent all these occurrences, maybe in some near misses. Internal and external audits, they actually identify the areas for improvement. Regular internal audits conducted by the laboratory itself help identify non-conformances and areas for improvement. Sometimes even the external audits, they actually help. They provide an unbiased evaluation of the laboratory compliance with standards, of which is our ISO 15189. So we can just pick some few examples of pre-analytical processes of quality improvement projects. Like Laboratory X, they wanted to reduce specimen mislabeling errors by 50% through staff training and barcode system implementation. Lab Y implemented a continuous improvement program that resulted in a significant reduction in turnaround times and enhanced patient care. Okay, as we conclude, we have some few key takeaways. The pre-analytical phase, we cannot ever emphasize this. It is critical. It is very important. I know sometimes when you ask maybe other people which phase is more important than the other between the pre-analytical, analytical, and post-analytical, it's like the analytical where the actual testing happens. Yet in actual fact, they are like all equally important. As we have said that if something happens wrong in the pre-analytical, it will affect probably the sample all the way until the post-analytical. So it's very critical component of diagnostic accuracy, and it starts with the quality control and the quality assurance. Patient safety and care are inextricably linked to the prevention of the errors in this pre-analytical phase. So prioritizing and maintaining stringent pre-analytical phase practice, it's non-negotiable in the healthcare field. So adherence is actually a must. So we need to prioritize these practices. So we urge the healthcare professionals and the laboratory staff to make quality control and quality assurance in the pre-analytical phase a top priority in their daily work. By doing so, we can contribute to a better care of the patient, safe diagnosis, and improved outcomes, and reduced unnecessary deaths, for example. I thank you. And again, apologies for the unstable network. Thank you so much for listening. So Mr. Dlamini actually said that there is a link at the end of this. I will just project it now for the quick course. So you can actually take a photo of the QR code, then you will actually have your quiz, or you can actually follow that link for the quiz. Thank you so much, and over to you, Mr. Dlamini.
Thank you so much, for it, very strong and powerful presentation. We've got a lot, and colleagues, at this juncture, we would like to open up for some questions that we have from Mr. Dlamini on the presentations that he just presented to us. Maybe to start with, I saw one question from the comment section, Mr. Dlamini, was asking about what about other samples besides blood? there was a question on the comment asking about what about samples besides blood.
Okay, thank you so much, Nkosi. I think I did mention, even though I did not emphasize, or maybe it's due to the network issues. Yes, mainly we were focusing like on blood, but we did mention that we do have other samples like the urine, the stool, sputum, that we actually collect. So even in those cases, we still need to actually maintain the quality control and the quality assurance. For example, when you look into most of our probably the quality, the clinician's handbook, you'll find that it is detailed to say if you need a urine sample for culture, you need a midstream urine. But in actual fact, when the client is given the specimen jar, you find that the instructions are not that much sufficient. So what we are saying, we should like maintain this in all the samples that we actually collect. We give them all the instructions, the detailed as they are actually written in our procedures. So be it sputum, be it stool, be it blood, and even for the microbiology department, those samples, they've got their own requirements. So I couldn't unpack for each and every department to say how long should they stay, how should they be transported and handled. So that's why I kept on referring to following the SOPs that are there, because they are actually written how should an CSF be handled, how should a stool for culture be handled, how should the blood sample for viral load be handled. So maybe another thing that we may need to emphasize is on like checking everything as per the SOP says. Before you collect, you check if all your collection things or maybe the tubes are not expired, especially for those that have additives like the purple tops. So I do believe that some they will be expiring soon. So facilities everywhere, let's please check if they are near expiry. So if they are near expiry and your workload is not that much, maybe you can then share, you can work with the regional coordinators to make sure that those samples, they get utilized before they expire. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you so much, Lamini, for that. Colleagues, are there any other more questions?
Wonga, this is not a question. Can you have that QR code again?
Oh, okay, thank you. Lamini, Mr. Lamini, may you show the QR code in your last slide? We also pasted the link in the chat section for the small quiz, which acts as a register for the activity of today's session, colleagues. So I think it's about 1, 2, 3 questions, and then primarily is your demographics, your data, EMDC number, and your email address, so that we can also fix our database and directly send you any relevant communication to email or any other platform. And then just 1 or 2 on that. And in addition to this session, we are recording this session and the one that we'll be having going forward. I'll make the link available for those who can attend today's session to review today's topic and also access the quiz. And they'll be available for quarter, which is till December, which will ensure that everyone is on board on the CPD program. I have the link in the chat section. Please feel free to complete, and also are there any more questions or comments, suggestions on today's presentation and the structure of the program. Okay, I want to believe that everything was clear enough. Thanks. As we unwind and come to the end of today's session, I would like to appreciate all for training in numbers. This means a lot. I'm sure that as a lab, we are really excited about this and willing to get to the next level. I believe as we go on and on and on, we'll keep on sharing different practitioners. I still recommend and also request you all to invite more. I might not have all the for emails and contact to share with, but please do share and sensitize more to join. And another one, which is far more importantly, colleagues, as we are running this webinar series and training, I still open up for invitation to different labs and speakers with different nice topics that are willing to share the lab. You can contact me directly to my email and also CC the EMDC, and then we will review that through the AMLAC, and you will be on for scheduling the calendar for the future calendar going forward. And without any waste of time, colleagues, thank you so much. And please do complete the form. And from me to you, Siabo. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you and bye.
Thank you.
Siabo.